20 years. That's how long the average American spends paying back student loans. But here's what nobody tells you about those 20 years. The math behind student loan payback will shock you. Today we're going to break down exactly how long it really takes to escape student debt, and why some people are still paying 30 years later, while others are free in just 5. Get ready to see the brutal reality behind America's $1.8 trillion student debt crisis. Let's start with Sarah, a 22-year-old who just graduated with a bachelor's degree in marketing. She owes $39,000 in federal student loans. That's actually below the national average of $42,673. Sarah gets her first job making $55,000 a year. She thinks she'll pay off her loans in 10 years like the government suggests. But here's where it gets interesting. Sarah chooses the standard repayment plan. Her monthly payment, $402. Over 10 years, she'll pay $48,240 total. That means she's paying $9,000 in interest alone. But Sarah is one of the lucky ones. Only 44.6% of borrowers actually stick to that 10-year plan. The other 55%, they're in for a much longer ride. Now let's meet Marcus. Marcus dropped out of college after 2 years to start working. He still owes $28,000 in student loans. But here's the thing about Marcus that makes his situation brutal. Without a degree, his starting salary is only $32,000. His loan payments on the standard plan would be $288 per month. That's almost 11% of his gross monthly income before taxes. After taxes, rent, food, and basic expenses, those loan payments become impossible. So Marcus does what millions of Americans do. He switches to an income-driven repayment plan. His new payment drops to just $57 per month. Sounds great, right? Wrong. At $57 per month, Marcus isn't even covering the interest on his loans. His balance actually grows every month. Research shows that dropouts like Marcus take an average of 17 years to pay off their loans. But that's not even the worst-case scenario. Let's talk about Dr. Jennifer Chen. She's a dentist who graduated with $360,000 in student debt. Her monthly payment under the standard plan would be over $4,000. Even making $200,000 a year, that's brutal. So she chooses income-driven repayment too. Her payment? Around $2,000 per month. But here's the shocking part. At $2,000 per month, she's still not covering all the interest. Her loan balance is actually growing. After 5 years of payments, she owes more than when she started. Graduate degree holders like Jennifer take an average of 23 years to pay off their loans. Some take over 45 years. Think about that for a second. 45 years of student loan payments. That means starting payments at age 25 and finishing at age 70. But why does this happen? It all comes down to a concept called negative amortization. When your monthly payment is less than the interest that accrues, your balance grows. It's like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in the bottom. The hole keeps getting bigger. Here's another number that will blow your mind. 21% of borrowers see their loan balance increase in the first 5 years of repayment. 1 in 5 people are actually going backwards. And this isn't just about poor financial planning. The system is designed this way. Income-driven repayment plans cap your payments at a percentage of your income. For most plans, that's 10 to 15% of your discretionary income. But student loan interest rates are currently 6.53% for undergraduates. Graduate loans, 7.94%. Plus loans for parents and graduate students, 8.94%. When you combine high interest rates with income-based payments, you get a mathematical problem. The interest grows faster than many people can pay. So what determines whether you're like Sarah, who pays off in 10 years, Marcus, who takes 17, or Jennifer, who might take 30? It's not just about how much you borrowed, it's about the relationship between your debt, your income, and time. This is where the real math gets brutal. Let's say you owe $40,000 at 6.5% interest. If you pay $412 per month, you're debt-free in 10 years. But if you can only afford $200 per month, it takes you 26 years, and you'll pay $74,000 total. That's $34,000 more than the 10-year plan. But here's what's really crazy. If you can only afford $150 per month on that same $40,000 loan, you'll never pay it off. The minimum payment doesn't even cover the interest. Your balance will grow forever. This is the reality facing millions of Americans right now, and it explains why the average time to pay off student loans is 20 years, not 10. But wait, there's more to this story. Because not everyone follows the average. Some people hack the system and pay off their loans in record time. Others get trapped in cycles that last decades. The difference comes down to understanding the 3 factors that determine your payoff timeline. The 3 factors that determine your student loan payoff timeline are debt amount, interest rate, and payment power. But here's what makes this fascinating. It's not the factor you think that matters most. Let me show you with real numbers. Factor number 1, your total debt amount. The average bachelor's degree holder owes $29,400, but that varies wildly by school type. Public university graduates owe an average of $20,700. Private nonprofit school graduates, $22,200. But here's where it gets crazy. Students who attended for-profit colleges owe an average of $22,449. You might think, that's not too different, right? Wrong, because for-profit college graduates earn significantly less on average. This creates what economists call a debt-to-income ratio problem. Let's look at some extreme cases. Medical school graduates owe an average of $200,000. Pharmacy students, $310,330 median debt. That's more than most people's mortgages. But here's the plot twist. A pharmacist making $120,000 per year will often pay off their loans faster than a teacher making $40,000 with only $30,000 in debt. Why? Because of payment power. Payment power is your ability to throw extra money at your loans above the minimum payment. And this is where the math gets really interesting. Let's take two identical borrowers. Both owe $40,000 at 6.5% interest. Borrower A makes the minimum payment of $412. Borrower B pays an extra $50 per month, so $462 total. That extra $50 per month saves borrower B over 2 years of payments. They pay $37,000 total instead of $49,000, a difference of $12,000. But what if borrower B could pay an extra $200 per month, $612 total? They're debt-free in 6 years and pay $36,000 total. That's $13,000 less than the minimum payment borrower. This is why high earners with high debt often pay off loans faster than low earners with low debt. It's all about that extra payment power. But here's factor number 2. Interest rates, and this is where timing becomes everything. Students who graduated in 2013 had interest rates as low as 3.4%. Current undergraduates, 6.39% for the 2025 to 2026 school year. That's almost double. Let me show you what this means in real dollars. $40,000 at 3.4% over 10 years. Total payments, $46,600. The same $40,000 at 6.39%, total payments, $52,000. That's $5,400 more just because of when you went to school. But graduate students have it even worse. Their loans are at 7.94%, plus loans for parents and grad students, 8.94%. Let's see what this does to our pharmacy student with $310,000 in debt. At 8.94% over the standard 10-year plan, monthly payment, $3,857. Total payments, $462,800. That's $152,000 in interest alone. But here's the cruel irony. Most pharmacy graduates can't afford $3,800 per month right out of school, so they choose income-driven repayment. Their payment might be $1,500 per month, but the interest alone is $2,300 per month. So even at $1,500 per month, their balance grows by $800 every month. After 5 years of payments, they owe more than when they started. This is why some professional degree holders take over 45 years to pay off their loans. The math is literally working against them. Now let's talk about factor number 3, payment power. This is where income matters, but not in the way you think. A teacher making $50,000 with $25,000 in debt has a debt-to-income ratio of 50%. An engineer making $100,000 with $60,000 in debt has a debt-to-income ratio of 60%. Who pays off their loans faster? Usually the engineer, even though their debt-to-income ratio is higher. Why? Because after basic living expenses, the engineer has more leftover money to attack the debt. The teacher might have $500 left over each month after expenses. The engineer might have $1,500. That extra $1,000 per month is payment power, and payment power is what determines your real payoff timeline. Let's look at 3 more realistic scenarios. Meet Jessica, a social worker. She makes $42,000 per year and owes $35,000 in loans. Her required payment under income-driven repayment is $160 per month, but after rent, food, car payments, and basic expenses, that's about all she can afford. At $160 per month, she's barely covering interest. Her balance will grow for the first 8 years. Total time to pay off? 24 years. Total amount paid? $67,000. Now meet David, a software engineer. He makes $90,000 per year and owes $45,000 in loans. His required payment is $464 per month, but David has strong payment power. After expenses, he can afford to pay $800 per month. Total time to pay off? 5 years and 8 months. Total amount paid? $53,000. David pays less total money even though he borrowed more. That's the power of payment power. Finally, meet Maria, a nurse practitioner. She makes $75,000 and owes $80,000 in loans. Her story shows why timing matters. Maria graduated during COVID when interest rates were lower. Her average rate is 4.5% instead of today's 7%. Even with higher debt, her lower interest rate saves her thousands. At $600 per month, she'll be debt-free in 12 years. Total payments $86,000. If she had today's interest rates, she'd pay $96,000 total. That's $10,000 more just because of interest rates. But here's what's really fascinating about payment power. It's not just about your salary. It's about your salary relative to your fixed expenses. Someone making $60,000 in a low-cost area might have more payment power than someone making $80,000 in New York City. This is why geographic location plays a huge role in student loan payoff times. According to recent data, borrowers in states like Mississippi and West Virginia often take longer to pay off loans despite having lower average debt. Why? Because their incomes are also lower. Meanwhile, borrowers in states like Connecticut and Massachusetts pay off loans faster despite having higher debt. Their higher incomes create more payment power. The brutal truth is this: the student loan system is designed around the assumption that your income will grow over time, and for many people, it does. The average college graduate sees their salary increase by 56.8% over their career, but student loan debt has grown 89% faster than average income over the past decade. So even as your income grows, your debt burden becomes relatively heavier. This explains why so many borrowers feel trapped. They're not just competing against their current debt, they're competing against a system where debt grows faster than wages. But some borrowers break free from this cycle. They understand the secret that the student loan industry doesn't want you to know. The secret is this: student loan payoff isn't about your total debt or even your interest rate. It's about cash flow optimization. And the borrowers who figure this out escape debt decades earlier than everyone else. Let me show you exactly how this works with real income scenarios. Meet Rachel, a marketing manager who discovered this secret by accident. She graduated with $47,000 in debt at 6.8% interest. Her minimum payment was $486 per month. Standard timeline? 10 years. But Rachel got laid off 6 months after graduation. She had to switch to income-driven repayment. Her new payment? $0 per month because her income was below the poverty line. Here's where it gets interesting. Instead of celebrating the zero payment, Rachel did something brilliant. She kept living like a broke college student even after finding a new job making $52,000. She stayed in her cheap apartment, drove her old car, and ate ramen. But instead of making the required $230 monthly payment on her income-driven plan, she threw every extra dollar at her loans. Some months $800, some months $1,200. Result? She paid off her entire balance in 3 years and 2 months. Total paid? $51,000. The standard plan would have cost her $58,000 over 10 years. Rachel saved $7,000 and gained 7 years of her life. This is cash flow optimization in action. But let's look at the other extreme. Meet Kevin, a project manager making $78,000 per year. He owes $55,000 at 7.2%. Kevin chose income-driven repayment because the standard payment of $638 felt too high. His income-driven payment? $312 per month. Kevin thought he was being smart by lowering his payment. He used the extra money to upgrade his lifestyle. Nicer apartment, better car, more dining out. What Kevin didn't realize is that $312 doesn't even cover his monthly interest. His interest alone is $330 per month, so every month his balance grows by $18. After 5 years of payments, Kevin has paid $18,720, but he now owes $56,800 more than when he started. Kevin is trapped in what economists call the minimum payment trap, and here's the scary part. Kevin represents 21% of all borrowers. 1 in 5 people see their student loan balance increase during the first 5 years of repayment. Now let's analyze different income brackets to see how payoff timelines really work. Income bracket 1, $30,000 to $45,000 annually. This includes teachers, social workers, retail managers, and administrative assistants. Average student debt in this bracket? $32,000. On income-driven repayment, their monthly payment ranges from $50 to $200. Problem? The interest on $32,000 at 6.5% is $173 per month. So most borrowers in this bracket experience negative amortization for years. Their balances grow before they start shrinking. Average payoff time? 22 to 28 years. But here's a success story from this bracket. Meet Amanda, a teacher making $41,000. She owes $28,000. Instead of accepting a 25-year timeline, Amanda got strategic. She took on tutoring work, earning an extra $300 per month. But instead of spending it, she put every penny toward her loans. Her regular payment was $130. With tutoring income, she paid $430 total. Result? Debt-free in 6 years instead of 25. She saved 19 years of payments. Income bracket 2, $45,000 to $75,000. This includes nurses, accountants, sales representatives, and junior engineers. Average debt? $38,000. Monthly payments range from $200 to $450 on income-driven plans. Most borrowers in this bracket can cover their interest, so their balances slowly decrease. Average payoff time? 15 to 20 years. But look at Michael, a nurse making $62,000. He owes $43,000. Michael's required payment is $308 per month, but Michael lives with roommates and drives a used car. His actual payment? $700 per month. Payoff time? 5 years and 4 months. By doubling his payment, Michael saves over 9 years of payments. Income bracket $375,000 to $125,000. This includes senior engineers, managers, pharmacists, and some lawyers. Average debt? $68,000 because many have graduate degrees. Monthly payments range from $400 to $800. Most can easily cover interest and make progress on principal. Average payoff time? 10 to 15 years. Here's where it gets interesting. Meet Dr. Lisa Chang, a pharmacist making $110,000. She owes $180,000 from pharmacy school. Her required payment is $912 per month. Standard timeline? 20 years. But Lisa lives like she makes $60,000. She puts $50,000 per year toward her loans, over $4,000 per month. Result? Debt-free in 4 years. She saves 16 years of payments and over $100,000 in interest. Income bracket 4, over $125,000. This includes doctors, lawyers, consultants, and senior executives. Average debt? Often over $100,000 due to professional degrees. But here's the paradox. High earners often take longer to pay off loans than you'd expect. Why? Lifestyle inflation. As income goes up, spending goes up even faster. The doctor who could pay off loans in 3 years often takes 10 because of the big house, luxury cars, and expensive habits. But the ones who resist lifestyle inflation, they become debt-free incredibly fast. Meet Dr. James Park, an orthopedic surgeon making $350,000. He owes $400,000 from medical school and residency interest accumulation. Instead of buying the mansion and Tesla, Dr. Park lives in a modest home and drives a Toyota. He throws $200,000 per year at his loans. Result? Debt-free in 2 years and 2 months. Total interest paid? $37,000. If he had taken the standard approach, he would have paid over $200,000 in interest over 25 years. Now here's what's fascinating about these income brackets. Your bracket when you start repayment isn't your bracket 5 years later. Income mobility is real, especially for college graduates. The teacher making $40,000 today might be making $60,000 in 5 years as a principal. The junior engineer making $55,000 might be making $90,000 as a senior engineer. This is why some borrowers accelerate their payoff timeline over time. They use income increases to attack debt instead of upgrading lifestyle. But here's the brutal truth about income-driven repayment plans. They're designed to help you, but they can also trap you. Income-driven plans include SAVE, IBR, PAYE, and ICR. They cap your payments at 10 to 20% of discretionary income. Sounds helpful, right? But there's a hidden cost. If your payment doesn't cover interest, your balance grows, and that growth is compounding. Interest on top of interest. Some borrowers end up owing more after 10 years of payments than when they started. The government will forgive remaining balances after 20 to 25 years. But here's the catch nobody talks about. Forgiven debt counts as taxable income. If you have $50,000 forgiven, you owe income tax on $50,000. That could be a tax bill of $12,000 to $20,000. Due immediately. This is called the tax bomb, and it's coming for millions of borrowers in the next decade. So the real question isn't just how long it takes to pay off student loans. The question is, what's your strategy to avoid the traps and optimize your timeline? Because the difference between a good strategy and a bad strategy isn't just money, it's decades of your life. This is the final revelation that will change how you think about student loan payback forever. The system is designed to keep you paying for as long as possible, but there's a mathematical formula that lets you escape in record time. Let me show you the 3 strategies that can cut decades off your repayment. Strategy 1. The payment acceleration method. This is what separates 5-year borrowers from 25-year borrowers. Every extra dollar you pay toward principal saves you multiple dollars in future interest. But here's the part most people miss. The timing of those extra payments matters exponentially. Let's use real numbers. You owe $40,000 at 6.5%. Standard payment, $412 monthly for 10 years. Total cost, $49,400. Now, what if you pay an extra $100 per month for just the first 2 years? That's $2,400 extra total. Result? You save 3 years and pay $45,000 total instead of $49,000. You invested $2,400 and saved $4,400. That's an 83% return on your money, better than any stock market investment. But here's where it gets crazy. What if you put that same $2,400 toward extra payments in years 8 and 9 instead of years 1 and 2? You only save 6 months and $1,500 in interest. Same money, dramatically different results. This is because of compound interest working in reverse. Early payments attack the principal before interest has time to compound. Late payments are mostly fighting already compounded interest. Strategy 2. The income surge capture method. This is what high achievers use to become debt-free in under 5 years. Instead of letting lifestyle inflation eat their raises and bonuses, they redirect everything toward loans. Meet Jennifer, a software developer. Starting salary, $70,000 with $50,000 in debt. Year 1 payment, $600 monthly. But Jennifer got a $10,000 raise in year 2. Instead of upgrading her lifestyle, she put the entire raise toward loans. New payment, $1,433 monthly. Year 3, another $8,000 raise. Again, straight to loans, new payment, $2,100 monthly. Result, debt-free in 2 years and 8 months. If Jennifer had kept the same $600 payment despite her raises, it would have taken 8 years. She saved over 5 years by capturing her income growth. The key insight? Your future self will earn more money, but your future self will also want to spend more money. The only way to break the cycle is to commit your raises to debt payoff before lifestyle inflation kicks in. Strategy 3. The refinancing arbitrage method. This is controversial because it involves giving up federal protections, but for the right borrower, it can save tens of thousands of dollars. Federal loan rates are currently 6.39% for undergraduates. Private refinancing rates can be as low as 3.5% for borrowers with excellent credit. Let's see what this means for a typical borrower. $40,000 at 6.39% federal rate. Monthly payment, $452 for 10 years. Total cost, $54,200. Same loan, refinanced at 4% private rate. Monthly payment, $405 for 10 years. Total cost, $48,600. Savings, $5,600. But here's the critical part. You lose income-driven repayment options, loan forgiveness programs, and deferment protections. This strategy only works if you're confident in your income stability and committed to aggressive payoff. Now let's put it all together with a real success story. Meet Carlos Rodriguez, a mechanical engineer. Starting situation, $95,000 in debt from his master's degree. Interest rates averaging 7.2%. Starting salary, $85,000. Standard timeline, 12 years, total payments of $138,000. But Carlos implemented all 3 strategies. Year 1, he lived like he made $50,000 and put $35,000 toward loans. Remaining balance, $68,000. Year 2, he got a promotion to $95,000 salary. Instead of lifestyle inflation, he put $45,000 toward loans. Remaining balance, $26,000. Year 3, he refinanced the remaining balance from 7.2% to 4.1%. Final payment, $27,000. Total time, 2 years and 4 months. Total paid, $107,000. Carlos saved $31,000 and 9 years and 8 months compared to the standard plan. That's the power of combining all 3 strategies. But here's what's really shocking about the student loan system. The government makes money when you take longer to pay. Federal student loans generated $41 billion in profit for the government in recent years. Income-driven repayment plans, while helpful for struggling borrowers, are also profit centers. The longer you pay, the more interest the government collects. This explains why financial literacy around student loans is so poor. There's no incentive to teach borrowers how to pay off loans quickly. Loan servicers get paid to manage your loans, not to help you eliminate them. The entire system benefits from confusion and long repayment periods. But now you know the truth. The average 20-year payoff timeline isn't inevitable. It's the result of borrowers accepting the system's default settings, minimum payments, lifestyle inflation, and ignorance about compound interest. Here are the final numbers that summarize everything. 42% of borrowers are still paying 20 years after starting college, but the top 10% of borrowers by financial literacy pay off their loans in under 6 years. The difference isn't income. The teacher making $45,000 who pays off in 6 years often beats the lawyer making $150,000 who takes 15 years. The difference is strategy. Understanding that every dollar of extra payment in year 1 saves you $3 to $4 over the life of the loan. Knowing that raises and bonuses should go to debt elimination, not lifestyle upgrades. Recognizing that the minimum payment is designed to maximize the system's profit, not your financial freedom. So here's your action plan. If you're currently in school or about to start repayment, live below your means from day 1. If you're already in repayment, calculate what happens if you pay an extra $100 per month. Use any windfall, raise, or bonus to attack your highest interest rate loans first. Consider refinancing only if you have stable income and excellent credit. And remember this final truth, student loans are not a life sentence, they're a math problem, and every math problem has a solution. The question is whether you'll accept the system's 20-year timeline or create your own 5-year plan. Your future self is counting on the decision you make today, because 20 years from now, you'll either be debt-free and building wealth, or you'll still be making student loan payments and wondering where the time went. The choice is yours, but now you have the knowledge to make the right one.